Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's the Wrestling Classic just near fly for the TWC Show on Ruckus Avenue Radio. And wherever you guys listen to podcasts, make sure you guys subscribe to Ruckus Avenue Radio. Check them out on Instagram as well. They just dropped their Rise album. Before we get started, I almost said before we get started. Nobody's sharding on this show. Before we get started with our Double or Nothing recap, before I introduce my co-host for today, I really quickly want to give a sad condolences to Punjabi artist, rapper, one of the first artists in the Punjabi music industry that fused together hip-hop and Punjabi music, Sidhu Moosewala. Big fan. I'm a big fan of Sidhu Moosewala. He passed away. He got gunned down in his Jeep. It was kind of weird. His last album, or his last song he dropped, was called The Last Ride, and the album cover was the car that Tupac got shot in, and he was a big Tupac fan. That was one of his biggest influences. And the way he got shot down almost in similar fashion is quite ridiculous. There's a lot more to it. You can Google it. You can check it out. But I just want to say rest in peace to Sidhu Moosewala. If any of you guys not familiar with his music, I know a lot of you guys probably don't listen to Punjabi or Bhangra music. I just wanted to say two of my favorite songs is like Famous or Death Route. But man, he had banger after banger after banger from So High all the way to The Last Ride. Check out Sidhu Moosewala. Rest in peace. And he really was a pioneer in changing the Punjabi music industry and changing the game. Rest in peace, Sidhu Moosewala. And it's very, very sad for our community, the Punjabi community, the South Asian community. Even Drake put him in his story, yesterday, saying rest in peace, Moose, which, that's big recognition for, our culture. So I just want to start off with saying that. Now let's get into wrestling. I don't like podcast. What's up, Daniel? What's going on?
What's up? I don't know why that lagged, but yeah, it's good to be back. It's good to be back on the show. I feel like I haven't done this in like a while. So let's get right.
We were literally on the show last week. The only issue is that we didn't record over the weekend because I said I wanted to do a Double or Nothing recap. So there's no point of us dropping a show over the weekend. And returning to the show, none other than Jamari, the Jamari. What's up? And really quickly, give a quick plug for your basketball podcast.
Oh, basketball. Follow Post Up with J and T with me and Tamra, T Money, T Buckets. He will kill me if I don't say all of that. Once again, that is Post Up with J and T on Instagram, Facebook, and on Twitter. Please go ahead and listen.
So we are going to break down Double or Nothing match for match. There's a lot to talk about. We're probably not going to talk a lot about what's been happening in the WWE. I know, Randy Orton's out. Cody and Seth are getting more heated. The Mysterios are back. Shinsuke's teaming with Riddle. Like, there's stuff happening there, but I don't know. For me, like, last week's week of WWE television was kind of just like meh. It was good. There's nothing bad about it, but maybe Raw tonight will be a little bit better. Is this the go-home show to Hell in the Cell?
Indeed it is, yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys noticed there's a lot of crossover, too, between, like, the Raw and SmackDown? Like, Kevin Owens was on SmackDown this week, and that whole segment with Sami Zayn, which I really did enjoy. That's one of the highlights of last week's television, was having Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens together again, but it almost feels like the brand extension is, like, non-existent.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that, but there were like rumors or whatever that they want to do like a brand split or something, but I don't know what's going on, but we shall see.
I think if they ever did a brand split, it would not help and they would actually shrink the roster more down. Mm-hmm. But they'll bring in more women probably from NXT because they need to fatten up the women's roster for themselves. But men's side,
yeah,
I think
they already
cut out a men's side.
Well, there already is a brand split. That's not the issue. The fact is that they're just not staying consistent with it. Everyone seems to be on everybody's show. And this seems to happen a lot in the past few years. Remember they had the whole wild card rule a couple of years ago. And now we're doing this where like it just seems like everyone is on everybody else's show. There's no consistency with the brand split. So it almost makes you wonder if they should drop it.
Yeah, I don't know.
They should. They honestly should.
I mean, with the whole brand split and everything, I think the last time it was really successful was 2016, and we really saw, SmackDown go on this amazing run from 2016 to in my opinion, I want to say right after WrestleMania 33, where it kind of declined and it was on his weird, it had his weird momentum. But like, SmackDown 2016, for those that know, like guys like The Miz, Dolph Ziggler, like the mid card got to shine over the main event guys, and it was really cool. We got to see AJ Styles and John Cena and Dean Ambrose and like new faces. I think Zack Ryder even had his moment on SmackDown. It was really cool for a lot of faces, and even on the Raw side back then, like Balor. Before he got injured, Seth, Owens, Jericho, like the whole list of Jericho, like that was around that time. So if they can do something like that again, then maybe it could work. But I agree with Jamari. I think, bringing up people from NXT to the main roster would really help benefit the main roster right now, because the roster is cutting thin, and it's like, you can book the same matches every week, but it's not going to stay as fun as it once was. And, I don't know. So
there was rumors that they might have some of the women from NXT come up for their women's tag team title tournament that they're planning to do, because obviously there isn't enough women's tag teams on their main roster. I mean, you could say, I don't know, Natalia and Shayna, Carmella and Zelina, you could put back together, but there really isn't women's tag. I guess Doudrop and Nikki Ash. I'm not sure, but I definitely could see them bringing more of the women up. But WWE hasn't been that interesting for me. I'm gonna be completely honest. The last week of wrestling for WWE was like, once again, it was good, but it wasn't anything that I was so like, man, I can't wait to come on the TWC show and talk about it. Everything is been solid but not great, but we're here to recap Double or Nothing. One last thing before we get into Double or Nothing AEW. A huge congratulations go out to Charlotte Flair and Andrade. They got married this past weekend. Congratulations on tying the knot, wishing them a lifetime of happiness. I congratulated Charlotte earlier last week. I was like, I'm not 100% sure, but if you are getting married, I just want to say congratulations and really happy for you both, et cetera, et cetera. And I threw in the, because we've talked about it on the TWC show, I'm like, you could tell Andrade that Barbero, and I don't know if he meant that in an offensive way in a term of endearment, that I said congratulations to. And Charlotte started laughing. She's like, I'll definitely let him know. And thank you so much. I talked to her again after, and I was like, you look gorgeous. And Andrade's a stud, but didn't surprise me because he's a fellow Scorpio. And then she made a joke about Aries being better. But congratulations to Charlotte and Andrade, man. The wedding looked fun, man. DJ Lewin was there, Flair was there, Finn Balor was there with his wife, Nia Jax was there. It was a solid celebration of love, I guess.
Absolutely, it's cool. It's cool to see everybody pop up there.
All right, but let's get into Double or Nothing. Is there anything you guys want to add before we get back into Double or Nothing? The Call Up podcast said, I feel like they will bring the Bella Twins back to win this tournament. I could see that happening. I could see the Bella Twins coming back for this tournament if they want to. I think that would be. I think the Bella Twins, and this is a personal thing. I know a lot of people are getting over the women's tag team titles, but I do believe personally, maybe a bias, that as long as they exist, the Bellas should probably win them once.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely
just the fact that they were basically a tag team their entire career.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Definitely agree with that one.
And also, before we get there, Double or Nothing weekend, I was supposed to be in Las Vegas. I never went, guys. Dude, this whole 2 weeks, I'm supposed to be in Vegas for this weekend. I was supposed to be in the California Dynamites and the shows going on in California this week. I had a passing in my family, unfortunately. My cousin's dad passed away, my dad's sister's brother, my dad's sister's husband. So I wasn't able to go to Vegas. I will not be going to LA or anything last minute. I won't be at LAX Fest, guys. Go check out LAX Fest. A bunch of people will be there doing signings. The Hardy Boys, Britt Baker, Adam Cole, Anna Jay, a whole plethora of people will be there at LAX Fest June 4th. Be sure to go check it out. AEW makes it their premiere in LA this week. Thank you to Call It Podcast. He said my condolences, but I would have loved to have been there for all of this. I was planning to be there. I was planning to be in Vegas this weekend. I was planning to be in LA, but that won't be the case. That being said, Vegas looked very lit. It looked very fun. It looked like everyone was having a blast. It seemed like a lot of stuff was going down. And one of the things I wanted to bring up, because we brought up the Bella Twins, was they did the karaoke night, and Bryan Danielson sang the Backstreet Boys, I Want It That Way. And what people don't understand is that being a kid that was born in the 90s when like the Spice Girls and the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC were like the top of the world at one point, and having an older sister that loved all of that and having to watch like the hit list every like Friday at 5 p.m. My teenage years all the way up until like now, to be honest, if I'm with a group of friends who are around the same age as me and we are drinking and that song comes on, it doesn't matter your gender or how cool you think you are, we all somehow know the lyrics. And that's why I was like, I never knew that I needed to see Bryan Danielson singing the Backstreet Boys, I Want It That Way. Made my weekend. I thought that was hilarious. And Brie Bella commentating, for those that followed this page for a long, long time, know how much I would have popped for that circa 2014, 15, 16. So because we're all about Brie mode. That was super cool. Shout out to Bryan Danielson. And thank you for reposting it on his story. That was cool of him as well too. But I didn't know I needed that in my life. And I'm really happy we got to see it.
He got some vocals. That boy got some vocals, man.
He does.
Hey, one of the most dangerous people in the world, can kick your head off, but the best vocals I've ever heard singing the song.
And he was into it. Guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can check out the clip on my page. It's still there. Check out my reels. Bryan Danielson singing I Want It That Way. Okay, we are literally like 10, 11 minutes. Let's talk about Double or Nothing. Daniel, what was the first match to kick things off on the pre-show?
It was Hookhausen versus Tony Nese and Mark Sterling.
Okay, let's start with this. Let's start with Daniel. Daniel, how do you feel about Hookhausen?
I love how you gave me the floor first. Honestly, I get why people like it, but in my opinion, I don't get it. I don't understand it, but I respect someone who does, and I'm saying that in the nicest way because I feel like I'm gonna offend somebody every single time I'm on here. But I don't know. I think Hook should be on his own doing Hook stuff, grabbing hookers and stuff. I don't know. I'm kidding. I don't know. I think Hook should just be kicking ass, and I wish we got to see more of him on Dynamite actually, because I think Hook's a cool character and everything. He has this cool persona, cool vibe to him, but pairing him up with Danhausen, like, I get it, but it makes me feel like he has like the Orange Cassidy spot. Like he's like the AEW mascot, I don't know, but I get it though. So I don't know.
Jamari, you seemed offended when you said when Daniel said
I am very offended. That's why he said that. I am very offended. How do you don't like Danhausen?
I don't. I think he's cool-ish.
Excuse me.
I don't get the hype, bro. Like who is Danhausen? Like, please, like, I don't know. I don't know who he is.
Conan O'Brien met the Addams family.
Okay.
Smashed those together and mixed in a little vampire. I don't know.
Okay.
That's Danhausen mixed all together in just pure comedy. Had Hausen to everything. The voice, cursing people. I hope he curse you when he see you. That way you change up and change your mind.
I saw him at WrestleCon. I was just like, who is this guy? Like, why is he
very
so
evil? He's very evil.
Very nice. Very evil. 6'7", 300 pounds of just greatness.
No, I think he plays the character well. I've seen his interview with Chris Van Vliet, and he talks about like his character and everything, how Jimmy Jacobs actually helped him with his character and everything and helped come up with that. And like, he's over as hell. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't resonate with me. I'm very picky when it comes to wrestling. I I wasn't even the biggest Hook fan. I don't even consider myself a big Hook fan. I think he's cool, but I didn't watch this match. I'm not gonna go back and watch it because Hook or Danhausen.
So basically, what you're saying is Hook's stock dropped the moment they paired him with someone who's more of a comedic actor.
I don't think his stock dropped. It just makes me feel like, what else is on the show?
My only thing about it is where are they gonna go with this? Are we gonna go Hook and Danhausen all the way to the tag titles? Or is this something that's going to end soon? Because is there an end game? Because I do to Daniel's point, I don't mind it. I think it's funny. It's an entertaining pairing. Like the Odd Couple right now, like that little camera cut where Hook had his his arms on the turnbuckle and he was doing his thing, and then Danhausen like pops his head in with a little smile, like that made me like laugh inside a little bit. I'm like, oh, that's funny. But like, where do you go with it fully, right? Like, what's the long term plan with that, right? Like, is there like an end game with Hook and Danhausen? The match went exactly how you expected it to go. I don't think anybody thought Tony Nese and Mark Sterling were going to win. I like Mark Sterling playing the role of like he's fully just an attorney and not really a wrestler, even though he really is a wrestler in real life. But I like him playing that up, that he's like, I'm the attorney. I'm not even supposed to be in the ring with these people. Yada yada yada. I thought it was good for the kickoff. How about you, Jamari?
This is the thing about Hook. Hear me out, and I would never make this comparison unless I really believe it. It's a person that had their debut against Kurt Angle. That person's name is Taz. Mix it all together, I believe that Hook can be the next Kurt Angle. He could be a comedic, could be very serious, and be that all-around person when we look back at his career.
I could see that.
I loved what he did in that match because he still came across serious. Anytime we see him eating a bag of chips, we see him as serious. Danhausen can do whatever. We're still going to take Hook as a threat because the way his in-ring work goes, nobody, and I mean Tony Nese ran when he saw Hook get the tag. He ran out, Hook grabbed him, and that's how that match just took off. Like I said, I believe he's going to be a world champion one day, and I hope that they don't make his loss where he's like, take one loss and like, oh, now he looks beatable. Let's have other people beat him. Like, that's what happened with Goldberg. When one person beat him, now he looks beatable. I hope that they continue and he continues to win, add some comedy, and become that all-around character.
No, I agree with that. I think Hook has the potential to do all that. Hook is only 23 years old, I think. Man's got a whole lot of time ahead of him. He's got a lot of opportunities and room for growth and change. And I think this is just a pit stop on the road to him doing more. This isn't as bad if we're going to compare it to something. This isn't as bad as someone who's already so established, like an Adam Cole coming into AEW and then having a feud with Orange Cassidy or something. There was something that kind of took the shine off of Adam Cole during that period. This doesn't do that to Hook, I don't think, yet. I think Hook's still fairly new and it's showing a different side of Hook. You guys in the comments on the Instagram live stream, if you have anything to say about this whole Hook Danhausen pairing, please let us know. I'll say it on the show. Let your voices be heard. But yeah.
Watch your mouth. Y'all gonna be cursed. I'm watching this live too. I'm watching y'all this live. Y'all talk crap about Danhausen. I'm gonna ask him to curse you. I know him. I will ask him to
everyone's popping in and out, but no one's really giving us some comments. So drop some comments, guys. What was the first match on the main show? It was none other than MJF versus Wardlow. People thought MJF wasn't gonna show up. You know, the rumors the day before was MJF didn't show up to his meet and greet. He booked a ticket home. People were worried if he was going to get on the flight or not. Sean Ross Sapp went on his full-on, Gerard Rivera investigation. Barbara Walters, he was all on it. Like, nobody knew what was going on with MJF. Is he going to show up? Will he show up to face Wardlow? He showed up in a very nice robe, got booed out the building, and then squashed. How do you guys feel about MJF versus Wardlow? I think it was like 10 power bombs, was it?
10. It was 10. 10, 12.
It was 10. It says 10 right here.
Yeah 10.
How do you guys feel about that? Do you guys feel that it was apropos for MJF to be squashed, or do you think it should have been more of a competitive match?
I believe it's a good way to write him off TV if he is going to be off TV. I mean, that's the best way to do it. In the sense, I can't really complain about it. It was good to get Wardlow over, make him like a monster. And if MJF really is going to be gone, why not take him off TV in that type of way where they put the mask on him wrong?
I think, okay, I'm just going to start by saying I'm glad he showed up because I was kind of worried that Wardlow wasn't going to get his moment because they built Wardlow to be like this next star. He was getting the crowd behind him. Like, he really had the momentum going, but I'm glad he showed up and did business the right way and everything. And, to Justin's point, that role was pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie. Shades of Macho Man, was pretty cool to see that. But I don't know where he goes from here. But whatever he does, like I wish him the best. Definitely one of the pillars of AEW by far, and really great wrestler overall.
So I thought it was fine. I think if you're gonna get Wardlow over, yes, have him squash MJF. Like I think this was 2 years in the building this feud. Wardlow's been MJF's bodyguard, henchman, contracted, sharpshooter. Like I think him beating MJF with 10 power bombs was very fulfilling for a lot of wrestling fans. I want to see MJF get his ass kicked. I think the best storylines is when a heel gets so much over you, and then just gets their ass kicked and gets their ass handed to them. I think it doesn't hurt. If you really look at MJF's career, and I think we talked about this last week, I think he's only lost like 4 times. There's a loss to Jericho. There's I think 2 losses to Punk, and now Wardlow. I think that's it. Anyone in the comment section here on the live stream, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's just Jericho, Punk, and Wardlow, from my understanding. Like he doesn't lose that often, and I think it did wonders for Wardlow. And to Jamari's point, I think you could write MJ off TV for like a month or something, let him be gone. There's all this drama around his contract and him wanting more money and him wanting to go to the WWE, and he didn't show up to a signing and this and that. I want to go around the panel really quickly. Do you guys think it's a work, or do you guys think it's a shoot? Is this the same situation like Sasha and Naomi, or is this them doing a really intricate plan to build something really cool with MJF in AEW? Because Tony Khan won't comment on it on the press conference yesterday. He's like, I will not comment about that, but I'll comment about what's happened on the pay-per-view. Do you guys think it's a work or a shoot? I'm going to go with, personally, and I know this might not be popular opinion, I think it's a little bit of a work, but work or shoot?
I'm going to go. Well, before I start anything, you forgot 2 losses on that record because you're not going to disrespect people from Chicago. You forgot Sean Dean. He beat him twice.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to disrespect people from Chicago, where I'm from. So shout out Sean Dean, the captain. But I believe it's a little bit of a work shoot. I believe that they're trying to bring real life into kind of like parallel what CM Punk was leaving the WWE in 2011. And everybody.
I mean, I brought that up on my Instagram story. I said, what if this starts another summer of Punk, but instead of it being Punk saying he's going to leave Ring of Honor or WWE, it's MJF saying he's going to leave AEW, but he's going to take that title off of Punk and walk out as the AEW champion, leaving this company.
I'm just saying that I want it. I will. My main thing is I want MJ. I hate saying this. I want MJF to go ahead and beat CM Punk once we get into it. That's the
people in the comment section are saying total work. Someone else said it's a work. MJF can't work clean with WWE standards, which is a big, I think they can make MJF work, but it won't be as MJF as MJF is in AEW. But yeah, that was my thing. I'm like, well, Punk's the champion now. What if we revisit MJF? Because wait, are Punk and MJF 1-1, or are they 2-1?
They are. Punk beat him. No, Punk only
because he beat Punk in Chicago. Punk beat him in the chain match. Was there a third match?
No, it's 1-1.
It's 1-1.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. And then that AEW title, CM Punk versus MJF, all out August in Chicago. I'm going to leave with the AEW championship. I'm just saying.
Don't do that to me. Don't do that to
me. And they've already planned the seeds. The only thing that would, if this is a work, the only thing that is really, I guess, rude towards the fans is the fact that they went to a meet and greet to meet MJF and they never got to. Like, that's pretty much a pretty big dick move by the company. But still, like, that aside, like, it could be a work, man. Shout out
that's
to
the most MJF thing you can do. Like, only MJF can get away with that and just no showing. Only he could, and it would make so much sense.
That's true. Someone else here said it's not a work. Guys, more of you in the comment section. Let me know if you guys think the MJF thing is a work or not a work. He said MJF is pretty pissed at Tony.
Damn, you must have a great seat at the meetings, right? Because you know everything, right? He must be really mad at Tony. I'm guessing you know everything, right? Like,
I think Jamari might have put it the best way. It might be a work shoot. Maybe
kidding.
there actually is like contract negotiations going on, and they're like, let's make this bigger than it is for everybody else, because it seems like, if anything, AEW likes to get the internet talking. They know the audience they're working. The audience they're working is the audience online. That's their main fan base. Let's be real here. Someone else said feel like it's not a work, but I wanted it to be a work. And this guy said, "Oh, the guy that you were yelling the IWC knows everything, right?"
I mean, they must know. No, we don't know nothing. The only thing we know is nothing and nothing.
And then some other weirdos in here saying, "Please,
don't even read it."
Shout out Kelly, love you. Shout out Barbie. Moving forward, what's the next match on the card?
The Young Bucks versus the Hardy Boys.
Okay, we're gonna throw this to Jamari first, because we threw you first. I did MJF first, I think. So Jamari, what was your thoughts on the Hardy Boys versus the Young Bucks? I did like the Young Bucks Elvis gear since they were in Vegas. Very cool. But go on.
I'm kind of shocked that once again that the Hardys won. I say again only because they won the night before WrestleMania 33, not before WrestleMania 33, but they lost to the Young Bucks before WrestleMania 33. Then they went on to go to WWE for the WrestleMania 33. Now, in my head, I'm thinking, oh, put over the younger people, which the Young Bucks aren't really young, but put over the younger guys. I was dead wrong. It was a good match. I believe this is probably going to be a trilogy of matches that we're probably going to have in AEW. Jeff, I hate to say, because Jeff is one of my favorites. Jeff is like losing a step, and he looks like he's in pain anytime he does anything. In that match, it was basically almost like a handicap match for most of it, because Jeff went out to the outside. I'm like, is he okay? Everything's going all right. He came back in near the end of the match, and Matt took most of the brunt of the beating, but you would have thought that Jeff did at the end of the match. At that time, like I said, I just really shocked that the Hardys went over, and hopefully, this could be a trilogy of matches. Hopefully Jeff is okay.
How do you feel, Daniel?
I think it was one of the best matches on the card. I'll just go into that right now. I really enjoyed it. Big Hardy Boys fan. I agree with Jamar. He did look like Jeff did look like he was in pain. Some things looked a little off. Like his boot was really loose at one point, and then when he was coming out of the tunnel where you make your entrance, like he looked a little out of it. He looked a little tired. Maybe he was just beat up from that Derby match. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Jeff, but whatever it is, I just hope that this run doesn't last for as long as it does, because as selfish as it is, I want to see Jeff Hardy versus CM Punk one more time. I don't know why. Like, that's just something that needs to happen. I feel like there's money with that. And, yeah, I do agree. I think Matt Hardy was definitely carrying the match in terms of that side. But the Bucks had a good showing. Great gears, always great match. But I don't think this is the last of the Hardys versus the Bucks in AEW.
So before I talk about the match, I gotta just I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it, and I'm glad some people brought up in the live stream here on Instagram as well. Them coming out as the Hardy Boys on Rampage was dope. Brandon Cutler dressed as Lita had me dying, and Gangrel showing up was also super cool. Those Attitude Era fans out there that remember Gangrel being with the Hardy Boys after Edge and Christian for a brief period was super dope. It was a cool little callback. I wonder if Jeff helped Nick paint his face, breaking kayfabe, because it was pretty Jeff Hardy like. I also thought it was really funny when Nick did the video on Instagram that Jeff always does with his painted faces, where he does the opening the eyes thing. I was like, man, these guys we're really into like mimicking the Hardy Boys on Rampage. So shout out for that whole segment. Gangrel still looks like Gangrel. Like he looks like he hasn't yes, he's definitely aged, but like he just looks like Gangrel. Like
he's a vampire. He's really a vampire.
Yeah, he looks the same, like he's in the same shape, like he can still go, like he looked great. So shout out to Gangrel as well. I've met him in the past. He's super cool. So it's cool to see him on AEW as well. The match, okay, so this is one of those matches I did watch twice because I watched it obviously originally at my sister's and brother-in-law's house, and then I came home and Daniel wanted to catch up on the show before we did this show, so I was like, okay, fine, we can watch that match back. And as we watched that match back, I think I enjoyed it a lot more the second time than I did the first time. Can we just say the referee that referees the Young Bucks matches, and it's always the same one, that older referee that they love having ref the matches, like he literally calls. There's a spectrum in AEW. There's like a referee that calls absolutely nothing, and that's the one that is like in the Young Bucks matches. There's Bryce Rinsberg, who's probably like their best referee, who's like in the middle and like he does his job really well. He'll do the count and everything. And then there's Aubrey, that's just like doing too much. Like there's this weird spectrum of referees in this company. And to Aubrey's credit, I felt like last night she toned it down a bit. I'm giving her that because I was watching. I'm like, yo, she's kind of like out of the way, not doing as much as she usually does, but she was still doing a lot. But there's a weird spectrum of referees. The referees in the Young Bucks matches, like, it's like he starts out refereeing the match normally, and then halfway through, it's just like he forgets about all the rules because like everybody was just everywhere. There was no more, like, there was tags happening, but like I didn't know who the legal man was. Very regular for Young Buck matches, and Lucha Bros matches. I feel like it happens in those matches the most, but overall, really good match. Yes, it's hard watching the Hardys take certain bumps now. I think Daniel pointed out anytime Jeff does a swanton bomb and he misses it, like it just looks like it's killing him.
Cringeful. It's just like, ooh, that's gotta hurt. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I cringe every time he does it.
Like even like that's why like I was like when he was doing the one of the steps, I wasn't like more like, oh my god, this spot's crazy. I was just like, please don't let this be one of those spots where like Matt moves and he just hits the steps. Yeah. That's what I was more scared about rather than him just hit. I was like happy when he actually hit Matt and Matt stayed there. I was like, don't let this be one of those spots where he moves out of the way, because I don't want to see Jeff Hardy go back first onto these steel steps because it just looks like it hurts the swanton every single time. But otherwise, it was a really good match, and it's I think personally, I went in there with really high expectations that I put on the match myself, but it was good for what it was. Yeah. Next,
we got Jade Cargill versus Anna Jay.
I'll start this one. I was hyped to see Anna Jay come out in some gear that represented her debut gear. I remember seeing an interaction on Twitter where someone was like, I miss Anna Jay when she had like the top hat on that gear, and she responded to being like, oh, interesting. And then she came out on Double or Nothing with gear that was kind of a throwback to when we first got to see Anna Jay before she joined the Dark Order. So that was cool. Jade's a fucking star. And I think as much as I'm fans of both these women, I knew that Jade couldn't lose yet. I do hope one day down the road, and I said this when we did our predictions, that Anna does win this belt sometime down the road. But you couldn't take it off Jade right now. The match wasn't bad. Anna played good from fighting from under as the underdog, while Jade was kind of dominating. I think this match was more about the moments than it was really the quality of the match, because out came Stokely Hathaway, out came Athena. And I think it was more about that than it really was about the match. I think we all knew Jade was going to win. I think it was more about everything that happened after the match that made this more memorable. But shout out to Anna. I think she had a good showing again. The last time Anna fought Jay is the same thing. I know for some fans, like, they don't want to see Anna Jay kicking out of Jade stuff. She's not at her level, but I think it's okay. I'm a fan of Anna. I might be a little biased, but that's just me. Daniel?
No, I agree with everything you said there. I think it was more about the moments and the match quality, because match had some great moments, but the match itself was pretty good. I would say, like, it was decent. It was good.
Quick too.
It was quick for sure. And I agree. Jade, I'm just gonna go on a limb and say Jade's my favorite women's wrestler on AEW. I think she should be champ. Like, Thunder Rosa was great. We'll talk about that later. Great match with Thunder Rosa and Serena, but Jade Cargill just has a presence there where, like, if I saw her walking down the street, I'd be like, she looks like she's somebody. She looks like she's famous. Like, she just has that natural, like, charismatic side to her where I feel like you know, she's just good at everything she does, and like her getting in the ring with Brian and really like putting in that work, trying to get better, and you know, it really shows. And I think she's only going to get better. So,
People saying Jade is green. Anna Jay needs that belt, but Jade has the belt.
I mean,
and that's
no,
what I agree. Because honestly, I agree with. I don't agree about the green part, but I agree about the fact that that's why I said like I don't see Jade losing the belt yet, but I do want Anna to win it. And honestly, the only thing I can see happening is that Jade has like a title versus title match against whoever the world champion is, and she wins that, and then vacates maybe the TBS title, like just never loses.
give her all the belts, man. I don't care.
And then maybe like an Anna Jay or a Tay Conti or someone could get that TBS belt. It could help elevate them. Jamari, how'd you feel about the match?
It was an okay match to me. We were like on probably like hour 4 of the pay-per-view out of 13 hours. It was it went like you guys say, it went pretty quick. I think at that point it was already kind of prolonging. Jade is getting better in the ring with each time we see her. Just like Daniel said, she has that aura, like that pressure. When you see her, it's almost like a force of pressure that you feel, and you can just feel it. You can just like see it that she's a big star. And that's what I love about her, that representation. Because I think now with her, it's more about representation more than it is about her matches and what she does. And that's the good thing about her being the AEW. Now, the two other people that we had come in, Stokely Hathaway. I said this millions of times. I think I told you this, Justin. I was like, she needs to be with Stokely Hathaway. The most perfect.
No, and I think we all talked about that. Like, he's the perfect. The moment he got released, like we're like, he's the perfect fit with Jade and the baddies. Like he should replace Mark Sterling. We saw Mark Sterling come out there kind of beat up from his match with Hook Hassan, and then John Silver come out and run in and take him out. I think they get rid of Mark Sterling. No disrespect to Mark Sterling, and Stokely's the guy.
The big guy, and I love it. They all baddies, all 4 of them. Add Stokely in there too. That man's a baddie too. All right. This needed to be the thing from the start. And funny thing about Stokely, his contract literally expired the day before Double or Nothing. So they literally got him in just that day to get him on the show. And I cannot wait till Wednesday to see what this man says. He is pure comedy and one of the best Twitter follows besides what's her name? Oh my gosh. Nyla Rose. Follow those two and you will be laughing forever. If you're having a bad day, follow Malcolm Bivens, or he's probably going to change it to Stokely Hathaway now.
How do you feel about the fallen goddess Athena debuting in AEW? It seems like her target's gonna be Jade Cargill in the TBS title as of right now. Obviously, anything can change in the coming weeks. Is Athena a believable enough wrestler for you to think that should be Jade's first loss?
I hate this because I got to see her probably next month. I feel, and I hate to say this because Justin, you hate Dark. I feel like she's a good hand, as in she's going to be everywhere. She's going to be. I know, and like I said, I got to see her.
I don't hate Dark. I don't hate Dark. I don't hate Dark. I can't, and it's probably because of the way we were raised with wrestling in the 90s and the early 2000s, that like Raw and SmackDown were just the main shows, and then there was like Heat and Velocity, which were great shows too, but they were kind of just like the shows you would go out of your way to watch. They weren't the must-watch shows. They didn't really progress storylines or do anything where I felt like I was going to miss some major character development. Especially Heat was like that at the beginning, but as it went on, it became the show where there'd be good, solid matches on the show, but it wasn't anything like, man, I miss Heat. Oh my God, like I missed everything. That's my only thing with Dark. I think people try to act like Dark is the same level as Dynamite and Rampage, and it's just not in my mind. It just isn't. Like, it's a good show. I enjoy watching it. When I'm writing an article for 1:37 p.m. or doing work for like social media or whatever, and I have Dark on in the background, I thoroughly enjoy it. But I do think it's a little bit of it's good to promote everybody, but it's a little bit of like, there was a point where Santana and Ortiz or even FTR were featured on Dark so much, but they weren't on Dynamite. And I'm like, that's a shame. It's a shame because these guys deserve to be on Dynamite, and that's just the way I perceive it. Maybe I'm wrong. Guys, tell me if I'm wrong.
And she's, like I said, she's that good hand, and I hate to say it, but to get her like first couple wins, of course you're gonna have her on Dynamite probably for like 2-3 weeks, but after that, I could see her on Dark and Elevation getting those Dark wins. then all of a sudden, hey, we're gonna have her challenge Jade, or hey, we're gonna have her challenge Thunder Rosa, because that's the show. That's what they run at the show that I go to, Warrior Wrestling. They run Thunder Rosa versus Athena, and that match is great. And I think that's what we're gonna probably be building to. Yes, probably Thunder Rosa will go over, but then, like I said, you're gonna have her on dark, elevation. People are gonna complain, but hey, you got to get those wins to become a contender in AEW somehow.
So Black Barbie Diaz says, I don't feel Jade is on Athena's level. Love Jade, but she's still too green. Rafi.K said Athena should become champion, but based on how the women's division is booked, she's gonna have one match on TV and then she'll probably lose to Jade and be relegated to YouTube shows. Typical Tony booking, basically what we're talking about right now. And those are the two comments about that. Someone else, Nikki's perspective says she'll end up like Ruby. And NY, that we'll talk about Thunder in a bit. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't pop too hard for Athena. I would be lying if I said I've been like an Athena fan or an Ember Moon fan. I never understood her character in WWE. I do think she's a solid wrestler. So to your point, she's a great hand. She's a solid wrestler. She does that very well. She does very well for herself in those terms. I don't find her that appealing, or like we look at Jade and we say Jade has that look, that presentation. You look at Britt Baker and you say she carries herself like she's the top star. You look at Ruby Soho, she has a very distinctive look. You got the pretty girls, you got the Anna Jays and the Tay Contis, the pretty girls, etc. I'm trying to figure out what makes Athena stand out to me, and I don't see it. Even Kiera Hogan and Red Velvet stand out. There's something about Athena that doesn't stand out to me, but that's just my opinion. Let's move on. What is the next match?
The next match is House of Black versus the Dead Triangle.
I thought this was a really good match. I think this was a match was long overdue. They've been building the story forever. I thought it was a really good, fun match. And yeah, where do they go from here is mainly my situation.
Malachi Black is the most smoothest person in the ring. Fight me. The most smoothest person in the ring.
No, and I agree with you. I want to go on something Daniel said yesterday, though. And we'll talk about Julia joining them finally and fully embracing the dark side and joining, the dark side. But I have to agree with Daniel because we've been seeing a lot of 6-man tags and a lot of tag team matches with Malachi and Buddy and Brody. And I kind of miss Malachi in singles matches.
I'm just gonna be honest. I miss Aleister Black. I don't know. I just ever since he came in AEW, he did the thing with Cody. I thought, maybe he can help elevate him, but it's just I don't know. I think he's too talented to be held back. And I'm not saying they're not talented. I think everyone is talented, but I'm just saying Malachi should be the one trying to kick CM Punk in the head. Malachi should be going after somebody else, Bryan Danielson. I just miss Malachi Black being a single.
His level of importance doesn't seem where it could be. And I know he's doing this whole House of Black thing, but
for sure.
I personally feel like, and I've said this a million times, I don't think Tony cares. Like Tony's down for Malachi doing whatever Malachi wants to. Like, yeah, have your creative freedom. You want to do that, super cool. I don't think he really cares about it as much as he cares about other angles and things going on in the company. My opinion, it seems like he's letting him do what he wants to do, and he's with it, but it's not his top priority. And I feel like Malachi could be, to your point, the lights could go on Dynamite in a CM Punk celebration, and they come back on, and Malachi kicks Punk in the head, and we're off to the races.
Like, imagine how cool that would be, right? Like, there's so many possibilities of Malachi being a singles guy, and Brody King, everyone's cool and all, Buddy Murphy, whatever. But I just
tag those two, make them a team, Murphy and King.
Yeah,
Buddy Matthews and
Buddy Matthews. Yep.
Buddy Matthews. Yeah. No, I think they're all super talented. I think they're great professional wrestlers. But there's something like that you invest in yourself when you invest in watching a Malachi match, a singles match, compared to watching a 6-man tag, because it's like your attention span isn't gonna last as long.
Black Barbie Diaz says, I feel like this is just too many factions in AEW, but Black should be going for the championship.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he honestly like give me Malachi Black as the TNT champion. Like who's the TNT champion right now? Scorpio Sky, right?
Scorpio Sky.
Mhm.
Right. Like that would be cool. Malachi versus Sky. I think that's a cool little matchup we can do, and it gives like there would be new faces for the TNT title, and you know what I mean, because Scorpio Sky's been in the TNT title picture for a while and he won it. Sammy Guevara has been an ongoing guy for the TNT title. Who else? So I don't know.
The same way you feel about Malachi Black is the same way I feel about Pac. Justin knows this. I don't care about the other two luchadors that much. I feel like they bring him down.
Yeah.
Pac should be that TNT champion right now, and I feel like they just really just holding him down by the Death Triangle. I don't remember the last time I seen a Pac one-on-one match where he has actually won.
No,
Dude,
and I'm
Pac-
with you because I'm such a fan of his. Like the promos he was cutting from back home, even during the pandemic, and the stuff he was saying when he was trying to come after Kenny Omega and that he should get a title shot. Like Pac and Malachi are probably suffering the same fate, and I think you got that completely right. Like they're both two guys that could be doing so much more and be like key factors and key players in this company, and they're there and they're great, but they don't seem to be being featured the way they could be featured as guys that could be really in contention for that top title. They don't. And I think a problem with that too is signing a lot more people and bringing a lot more people in this company. Because at the beginning, Pac seemed like a major player for AEW when it was like, Pac and the Elite and Chris Jericho, and even when Mox came in, now Mox is there, but but now it's like CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Keith Lee, Shane Strickland, and the more people we throw in there, the more guys that we thought were up here on the ladder that are dropping down the ladder or being in this weird spot, and it's like because
there's so many. Pardon?
No, I said, do you just shoot Pac or Malachi to the top? Like, is that fair?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, for sure. But there's so many bones you can give out, so many opportunities, and it's hard. It's hard. I mean, Miro. I don't know when the last time we saw Miro, but Miro's not even on TV anymore, right? So it's
allegedly he's filming a TV show, which is fine, but yeah, Miro's another guy that came in here. It's like that's a big player. There's too many big players in this company. I'm telling you. Julia Hart, though. We've been waiting for it. We've all been assuming it. The thing's been going on her eye. She had the eye patch. I initially, for a very long time, kept saying that I didn't know how she was going to fit with this group. Personally, she kind of fit, though. Whatever, like the clothing and the look, she kind of fit, though. I'm not going to say she didn't fit. It's new to me, but she kind of fit. She doesn't fit as good as I think
Abaddon.
What's her name? No, Abaddon's a good one, but what's Mariah's friend's name again?
Hannah Taylor.
Hannah Taylor would have fit in this group perfectly.
Scary, bro. She's actually scary.
Hannah Taylor would have fit in the House of Black perfectly. They should have called whoever was out in the UK and be like, how do we get Hannah Taylor here? We need her in the House of Black. She would have fit in perfectly. Abaddon's another one. I never thought about that too, but Abaddon would have fit in.
Abaddon would be pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I like that one actually a lot. Now that I think about it,
I forget Abaddon's in there a lot of the time, to be honest. But
I mean, she's got a unique presence, honestly.
100%. But yeah, I'm okay with the Julia thing. How do you feel about the Julia thing, Jamari?
I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's her aesthetic is just weird. Once again, this is kind of crazy. Malachi Black spit in her eye. Now she's spitting in Pac's eye again. So it's Pac. It's a lot of spitting going on. A lot of bodily fluids going on. Is Pac now going to join the House of Black? Now that he got the goo in his eye or something like that. I'm just throwing it out there. We don't know. Maybe it's a disease of the mouth. I don't know.
What?
That's a good one.
I didn't even think of the Jamari's on something here, bro.
I could be joining the House of Black. You're right. What if this was growing on his eye? He got spat on once away from it though. But maybe this one's different.
But it healed up. Remember, he had the thing, then he pulled it off. You can't survive 2 spits to the face. That's law right there. I don't know where that came from, but you can't survive 2 black.
Oh wow, that's a good one, Jamari. I'm with it. Okay, Daniel, what's the next match?
Let's see. The Men's Owen Hart Foundation tournament final between Samoa Joe versus Adam Cole.
Okay, so I think both these finals were kind of like,
we talked about
Samoa Joe, Adam Cole, Britt Baker, maybe not Ruby Soho, but those three people shouldn't have even been in these finals, because for me personally, I felt like the Owen Hart tournament should have been putting a spotlight on like stars that haven't had a spotlight on them, like a Ricky Starks, or that whole match between Darby and Kyle probably should have been the finals of the Owen Hart tournament. That's just my personal opinion. I didn't think Joe needed it. I didn't think Cole needed it. I don't think Britt needed it. Ruby probably could have used it, maybe, but I just felt like it should have like been there to build two new stars. The match was solid. Like, we never really got to see Adam Cole versus Samoa Joe in NXT. They teased it. We got the match. Doesn't hurt either guy to lose. And I don't have much to say about it, but Adam Cole, baby, he won. He
Can
did
I
something.
interject real quick? Can I interject real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Is it? Can I curse on this show? It's
Yeah,
allowed
you
to
can.
curse, right?
Yeah, you can curse.
How the fuck do you let two Shawn Michaels people win a Owen Hart tournament? Make it make sense. You met a Shawn Michaels guy win a Owen Hart tournament. Who thought of this? I said this. I was like, they're gonna let Adam Cole win, not even realizing that he's a Shawn Michaels guy. That is his favorite person.
Should have been
Dax
Dax.
was right there. Dax was
Should
right
have been
there.
Dax.
He was there. But let's just make, let's just give Adam Cole, you didn't even love that man. He didn't even watch Bret Hart matches. No, he watched Shawn Michaels in the 90s, not even show up, doing whatever Shawn Michaels was doing. He's probably doing the same thing Tony Khan was doing, when he did that interview. Yeah, big old sniff. I'm just saying, how the fuck this up? How?
Bro, that's so true.
It should have been Dax. I just felt like it should have been a coming out party for two new stars rather than two.
It should have.
Cole and Britt made stars, already established. Don't need anything to really build them as bigger stars.
No, 100%. I'm going back to the whole Brett and everything, the whole Brett Owen Hart stuff. Like, yo, why didn't we have Brian Pillman Jr. competing in the tournament? Like, that would have been super cool. No, like
Brian Pillman Jr., Ricky Starks, Darby Allin, Kyle O'Reilly, Dax Hart. It should have been just people that don't really get a spotlight getting a spotlight.
I remember Justin and I talked about this last night over the phone. Where we watched that O'Reilly and Darby match back. Where like this should have been the finals. Honestly, that should have been like, imagine that, like, and O'Reilly and Darby had a great showing out, man, great match, but I just don't get why Adam Cole won. And
Owen Hart was the ultimate underdog. He was the younger brother of Brett. He was always in Brett's shadow. He was always trying to break out of it. Owen's story was breaking out of the shadow. If you watch wrestling in the 90s, it was a big moment when Owen got a clean win over Brett. It should have been if there was ever an underdog tournament, this should have been the underdog tournament. This should have been like kind of how like NXT does the breakout tournament or something. It's like the new stars are out here. We're gonna give them a chance. And it just felt like a tournament of the top stars and the top.
No, it felt like a goddamn Shawn Michaels tournament. A goddamn Shawn Michaels tournament. This was planted. I know they planned this bullshit. Look, I love Shawn Michaels, but how do you do this? A man in the first ever Owen Hart Memorial Tournament. How do you think that the Hart family feels right now that they got to see a basically clone of Shawn Michaels when their covenant family? I'm not even gonna bring up the screw job, but that was probably the second screw job that ever happened. Mark that day right there.
Yo, Jamari's spinning right now.
This was a Las Vegas screw job.
It was a Las Vegas screw job. Like, how do you f this up so badly it's so many other. God damn it, you could have got CM Punk in the tournament. Like, if he would have just never won a title, waited a little bit more, let's say, hey,
Martha would have been happy with this tournament. Martha would have been happy with this tournament no matter how it was booked. She was happy the tournament was happening and her husband was being honored in wrestling like he should be with a company that she actually trusts, and that they were doing this whole thing and putting a focus on the Owen Foundation. Martha was going to be happy regardless who won this tournament. It wasn't about the booking of the tournament that made Martha happy. It just that's not even a shot at. I get the Shawn Michaels thing with Adam Cole, but it's not even a shot at Adam Cole with Britt. Samoa Joe shouldn't have been in the finals either. Samoa Joe should never have been in this tournament. Like, the people that were in this tournament that made it to the finals, to me, just like, I've said this every week on the show if you've been listening, for the most part, that this tournament to me seems really like it would have been cool if it was Dax's. Dax's tag team wrestlers would have had his breakout moment winning this tournament. It would have been cool if it was Kyle. As much as Darby's had highlight moments and been a former TT champ, and he still comes off as like that scrappy underdog, Darby Allin. Like, once again, guys like Ricky Starks, Will Hobbs, Brian Pillman Jr. There's just so many guys on this roster that
for Pillman. Like, I just, going back to the Pillman thing, even Griff, like, dude, they're both talented wrestlers. I just don't know why they get like pushed down a little bit. And like,
I know why.
Dude, like, think about it. Like, I remember when I interviewed Pillman Jr.
Yeah, Dante Martin could have been one of the ass boys. Max Caster should have been further in this tournament. There's so many people that could have they could have used the tournament to elevate them, and they went to Shawn Michaels Jr. and Britt Baker. Britt Baker and Ruby was a solid match too, but
I was pulling for Tony Storm to win the entire thing.
Tony Storm being new to this company would have been cool too, because it's someone new. It's building someone new. But I'll say this: the moment Adam won, I knew Britt was gonna win. Like, it was already like, for me, I'm like, oh, they both came out with pink. Yeah. Adam won, Britt's gonna win. It was cool. The belts are cool. So, correct me if I'm wrong. So the trophy, everyone's gonna get their own belts if they win the tournament. But the trophy, they're gonna carve the names in year by year, right?
Just like the Dusty Rhodes Classic, yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I thought it was cool. But yeah, that's just my. Hopefully, next year's tournament's more about the younger talent and building new stars, rather than I don't want us next year like Bryan Danielson and fucking. I don't know. They don't really have many women established in the women's roster besides Britt Baker. But
hey, hold on one second. AEW roster, learn how to do the damn sharpshooter.
Yo,
please learn how to do the sharpshooter. The most shittiest sharpshooter
on the worst sharpshooter in my life.
And that's why her destination is unknown right now, because they can't do a goddamn sharpshooter. It's so.
Shout out to Rancid being there live, and shout out to Fozzy guitarist playing Brett out. That was cool having some live music performances. But yeah, that sharpshooter would be locked on. Yikes.
You would think I hate Adam Cole. You would think I hate all these people the way I'm arguing.
I don't hate either one of these people. I just don't think that, like, Adam, Britt, and Samoa Joe should never have been in the finals of this tournament in my mind. I know in terms of like a pay-per-view card, you'd probably want them on there and it looked good. But like tournament-wise, I'm just like once again, you could have still had Samoa Joe versus Adam Cole somehow on this show, just through like beef, and had Darby and Kyle be the finals of the Owen Hart tournament. It would have been like
I think Kyle O'Reilly just should have won it. I feel like he signed like a 5-year deal with AEW, so I don't know. He really comes off as like that Owen Hart kind of guy. Like, he gives me those vibes, I feel
the underdog guy. It's the Owen Hart was the unlikely champion. He was the one that everyone loved. Brett was the star, and then there was Owen. That's the Owen Hart story, right? And Owen always was proving himself against Brett, and that he was just as good. And I think that's why it should have been someone that felt the way. Like, Adam Cole and Britt Baker know they're good, and we know they're good. Everyone knows they're fucking good. So like,
shout out to Ricky Starks, man. That man just, I think
what's the next match?
Fuck.
Because we're gonna talk about Ricky only. We're gonna talk about Ricky when we get to that match. But what's the next match?
The Women's Owen Hart Foundation Tournament.
We talked about that. We technically talked about that.
All right, cool. Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page, and Paige Van Zandt versus Sammy Guevara, Frankie Kazarian, and Tay Conti. Oh boy. When Sammy Guevara came out with the BMF title, I was just like, this is gonna get people mad.
I like Dracula, and I don't know what the whatever their look was to prove that they're embracing their new heel personas.
Yeah,
it was good. It was a solid match. It was like it's what we expected. This could have been on Dynamite.
Solid?
Huh?
Solid?
No, decent.
Did you not watch?
I was driving and I had it on my dashboard. I was picking my parents.
I know you didn't watch this by just saying solid. I know you didn't watch.
Bro, I'm crying.
I know you lying right through your teeth right now. Say it solid to me one more time. I dare you. You know that was not solid.
I watched it while I was driving, and then go back and watch it. This is when I had to go pick up my parents and my cousin's house, because the whole death in the family situation, and came back and I had it on in my car, but it was okay. Kaz had some issues with his team.
I don't watch it either.
Why are you making that face at me? Why are you making that face at me?
It was what?
It was
handle him, bro. I'm
no, Jamari. As the only person that might have properly watched this match, how was it?
Let him speak.
Jesus Christ. Paige, you were trying. We understand that. And I'm not going to knock you for being green.
Oh, this was her first match in AEW,
This is
right?
her first match in AEW.
Okay.
I got to get my customer service voice because I got to be nice. It was her first match. She was trying her hardest. But, sometimes when you try your hardest, it doesn't come off right. Sammy Guevara, I think it'll be best if he goes away a little bit. Sammy, you're great, but we don't need you right now. Scorpio and Ethan Page, we love you. I have nothing bad to say about you, Ethan. I love you. Dan Lambert, he's kind of. Are they heels or are they baby faces? That's what I also need to know.
They're the
Yeah, that was
baby faces
confusing
at this point.
So I just want to know why. I know they were trying to compete against the NBA playoffs, right?
Mhm.
Why did this match go so goddamn long? The fuck? And Justin gonna talk about, it was a good man. Don't lie. Don't lie to your viewers. Don't do that to yourself.
We saw Sammy super kick take Conti. We saw
There you
Kazarian
go.
have.
That's it. That's the match. That's all we need to talk about.
We saw Kazarian have a fallout with his team and not really working with Sammy and Tay properly. We saw Paige Van Zandt make her debut. She did decent, throwing some fists. That's it. I have nothing else. What's next?
All right. Next match, we got Kyle O'Reilly versus Darby Allin.
Sleeper match. Okay, you can't tell me that this match wasn't good. This was a sleeper. This
match should have opened the show, in my opinion.
Yeah,
that was a good comment. When you made that comment last night, you're like, this should have opened the show, and then they should have went to MJF and Wardlow. I agree with you.
Bro, that match just, bro, it was good. It was good for what it was. And Justin and I watched it back last night, and then O'Reilly was outside the ring, and Darby was trying to hit the suicide dive, and then his leg got caught up, and he did this weird roll where I thought he hurt his neck.
He saved himself last minute.
He saved himself last
minute. He flipped himself last minute when he realized his foot caught the ropes, and then they redid the spot on the other side where Kyle caught him and locked him in the guillotine. But
bro, that match was just great.
The chemistry between this was really I want to see it again.
Oh, that match is off the charts. Great match. Should have opened the show.
If you guys decided
within 5 seconds, bust them open.
If you guys skipped this match because you thought, I thought that it was added last second, and why were they just trying to get Darby and Kyle on the card? And Kyle injured Sting, because that's what it felt like. It just was added very last second. It ended up being one of the better matches on the show. So go check it out. Absolute banger. It should have been the Owen Hart Finals tournament match. And,
exactly.
It took 3 punk kicks and a knee drop from the top for Kyle to pick the win, and I just thought it was a banger. It's personal opinion.
That was
Choked
cool.
him out with his chain. Choked that boy out with his own chain.
And he ripped it off too, right? That was brutal. Yeah, that was brutal. Great match. No, but the next match
is one of those matches. Wait, this is one of those matches though, and I talk about this a lot in this show, where there's an art of losing a match and both people still getting over through the match. Both guys left this match getting over with me, for at least. I left this match being yo, Darby was dope and Kyle was dope. It wasn't Kyle won and you kind of Darby lost and you forget about the loser and really just Kyle got over. No, this match put Darby over even more too, and Darby's really good at that.
This match was better than any Adam Cole and O'Reilly match. I'm just gonna go and say right now. I don't know why. I just never enjoyed Adam Cole versus O'Reilly, their matches. I think it was too long, but yeah, I don't know. I maybe I'm just jumping the gun here and just saying crap, but I don't know. There was just something here that I enjoyed. I haven't watched wrestling in a while, and this was one of the first matches I came back to watch in weeks, and now I'm hooked back into it. And it reminded me of why I like this shit. You know what I mean? And it's great.
And there was no shenanigans. There was no run-ins. There was no sting. There was no Bobby Fish. It was just a straight wrestling match between two guys trying to beat one another, and they both left. It was probably the best singles wrestling match on this card. If you look at singles match, because I did really enjoy the 6-man with House of Black and Death Triangle as a 6-man. And if I think about all the male singles matches on this card, and there wasn't a whole lot of them, this was probably the best one.
100%. I agree for sure.
Yeah, that definitely was. I was gonna say one last thing. I think what's gonna add to Darby is his glutton for punishment makes every single match better. I don't know if you guys can agree. Him taking punishment, getting his ass kicked, makes the match just. I have never seen a bad Darby match at all. at all.
I know the crazy is he's lost most of them, but like, you always leave being like Darby's the man. He lost to MJF. He lost to Cody once. He's lost to he loses a lot of them.
Lost Punk, lost to
Justin, I know you said leave, right? Can I tell a little story about Darby Allin and me real quick, if that's okay?
Yeah.
2018. It was my birthday, right? I go to my first Evolve show, right? It was the Street Profits. It was Austin Theory, other people that are NXT now, like Josh Briggs and all of that. The main event is Darby Allin versus Mustafa Ali, right? And
that's fire.
Yeah, right? So just hold that, right?
That
was the main event, right? So intermission happened, right? And I passed by Darby. This is my first time ever seeing him. Just looks me right in the eye. He's like, "You having a good time?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I just walked. I was like, "Who the fuck is this little shrimp?" And I just go back to my seat, right? And I'm like, "All right, bet." Street Profits. That was the main reason I wanted to see because I love Montez Ford, right?
Montez
Austin Theory a little bit, and then go back to my seat. I was like, "Hey guys, for my birthday, I'm going to go out to drink. Who's going to be on last?" They tell me that it's going to be Darby versus Mustafa Ali. I was like, "Why the hell I want to see that? Who the hell is Darby Allin? What the fuck I want to see that for?" I went to a bar, right? None of my friends showed up. I remember getting that text saying, "Yeah, man, you missed out on a great match." I was like, "I don't care. Like, y'all act like Darby Allin one of the biggest stars ever." This is my chance to say I want to apologize to you, Darby Allin, because that was 2018. I didn't realize what I was missing. I got the poster literally from Evolve. I apologize. You are a star. I was feeling like Vince because I see people how, I look at my big 210 body. I was like 230 at that time. And I'll be like, "Who's this vanilla midget acting like Vince?" So apologies. You are a star. Be a star.
No,
guys.
I'm a Darby fan.
Be a star.
I've been watching Darby wrestle in Defy since like 2018 too, and I get honestly a series of great matches with Shane Strickland, and I always dug him. He's unique, man, and like I said, he's really mastered the art of even when he loses, keeping himself over. And you leaving the match not just being like, "Wow, that guy won. He's the man because you won." But Darby is the man even though he lost. Because
maybe younger Jeff Hardy. Because every time Jeff Hardy would never really win if you think about it. And 02 to 7, 6, whenever right, he would never win. You'd always see him as the underdog when he would go against Triple H, The Undertaker, John Cena, all the big guys compared to this guy, wearing face paint. You never think he'd win, but coming out of that match, Jeff killed his fucking body for that. And so same vibe with Darby, so I agree with that for sure.
Apologies.
Next match.
It's hilarious. The AEW Women's World Title match between Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb. What a match! What a match!
Best women's singles match of the night.
This in history of AEW.
In history, about near history.
Maybe. No, wait, we talked about this. Strip away lights out, strip away cage matches. If you take away all stipulations, and they ask you what's been the best women's match in AEW without stipulations, this would probably be it. I can't think of another singles match in AEW that didn't have stipulations that was this technically sounding good.
Yeah,
you got me. I know you got me.
Because listen, the lights out match, legendary. Everyone's gonna remember Britt versus Thunder Rosa and the blood and all. People are never gonna forget that. Even the tag team lights out match between Anna Jay and Tay Conti against Penelope and the Bunny. We're gonna remember that because all the blood and the furniture and all the crazy stuff. The cage match between Thunder and Britt Baker was a banger too. Those are top tier matches in AEW. Now think of all the women's matches that have been straight singles matches. Have any of them been this good?
No.
Anyone in the comment section, tell me if I'm wrong. If there's a singles match in AEW that didn't have furniture, didn't have any stipulations, please let me know. That was, and I'm not even saying this was the best match ever, but this was a wrestling match. This was watching two wrestling technicians trade holds, count each other's holds, transition into different submission moves and ways with only one goal in mind, to beat the other person. This was wrestling at its purest form. in this match. No shenanigans, no gimmicks, wrestling. And I think they did a really good job at it.
I was
Anybody?
trying to see if I could find any other match where I was just looking at the list of matches. I was probably going to throw a Thunder Rosa match or probably Britt Baker, but I think under those circumstances, this is probably the best technical match we have seen.
Yeah.
Hoe for hoe. I have just nothing but applaud for that match.
It was cool. It was cool seeing Thunder Rosa's gear dedicated to the Day of the Dead and like the whole incident that happened with the shooting and everything. She had dedicated to that gear and everything. It was cool, man. Serena Deeb's really good at what she does. Both women are great. Nothing bad to say. I'm glad the finish was simple and just clean. It wasn't like kicking out of finishers and stuff, but it was just like she hit that finish and that was it. And it was great. It was like what, 20 minutes, I believe, or something, 15 minutes. But
Yep.
20 minutes, and she hit her finish, and they finished that way. They didn't have to be a bunch of false finishes.
yeah,
Be a
I
bunch
enjoyed that.
of finishers. They didn't have to be pins that were near falls. Like this, they gave us a good solid match, and they finished the way a match would finish with a finish. It was like a proper wrestling match. Like I don't know how else to put it. And I know for some wrestling fans of the modern era, this could be boring or long or too many submissions and holds, but like this is like the foundation of professional wrestling that we just saw. And the fact that Las Vegas crowd gave them a "This is wrestling" chant, no other match on this card got that. They deserve that "This is wrestling" chant. Not "This is awesome" or any of that stuff. This is wrestling. We don't get that often, and I thought it was really cool and I really enjoyed it. It was a good match. Shout out to Thunder Rosa. She came on my show. She came on Casual Conversations. She said that she was going to go out there and she wanted people to leave being like, that was two women that went out there and put everything on the table and wrestled each other. Nothing else but just wrestled each other. Because she's like, I've proven that I can do all the blood and guts. I've proven that I can do all the hardcore stuff. I want to show these people that I can wrestle. And I think Thunder Rosa went out there and proved that she can wrestle and that she deserves to be the champion. And I hope this isn't the last time we see Thunder Rosa versus Serena Deeb. We talked about this last week, Daniel. Thunder Rosa kind of brought it up. I don't know if she said to me on the air or off the air. It most likely was on the air now that I think about it. That I could see these two getting a half hour, an hour on a Dynamite or a Rampage for an Iron Women's match. Thunder Rosa versus Serena Deeb. And or like an I Quit match or a stipulation in the terms where it's mainly based around wrestling and not furniture and stuff. I can see it happening between these two, and I wouldn't mind seeing it. I'm getting a 2 out of 3 falls match or something. I can see it.
Yeah. They put on a great match, and to your credit, to that interview that you interviewed Thunder Rosa, I know she talked about having the chip on her shoulder to prove that she really belonged here, and after weeks of her being booked really weirdly as champion, this was a coming out party, and we finally got to see what she's capable of doing, and I'm glad she got this opportunity to shine.
They're both not the greatest promos. The build-up wasn't that great. I'll agree with all of that, but they delivered when it came in terms of the match. And she said that too. She said that in the promo she got at the end of my the interview with her. She said, listen, I understand we've been getting a lot of feedback on our promos and what we've been saying coming to this match. And a lot of people are saying this and that to us, but we're going to go out there and prove to you guys that we can put on the best match you've seen. And I also really quickly do not want to forget to mention that I thought it was really cool. Like, yes, her gear was to pay tribute to the Day of the Dead and all the lost souls. We talked about this on the show. She explained her gear, but obviously since that time, we had the tragic shooting in Texas. In I don't know how to pronounce the city's name, Uvalde or something like that, but my apologies for not being able to pronounce it properly right now. But she wore that on her chest, in her heart, on her gear when she made her entrance to show love and respect to all those families that lost their young children, their daughters and sons in that tragic shooting in Texas. And I think even if you're not American, even if you are not from that city or from Texas, I think I was hearing about that, watching news. I think it hit all of us in a really unique way. Like, yo, we're all old. We went through elementary school. I don't remember a moment in my life when I was a child having to be worried about someone coming into my school with a gun and, shooting and killing innocent children and teachers and stuff like that. So for her to pay tribute on Double or Nothing for those children and to incorporate that in her gear about paying tribute to those lost souls and those who have passed to the other side. I thought that was super cool. So shout out to Thunder Rosa for that as well. And my condolences goes out to all those families that did lose children and people in that shooting. And not only just children, there was a teacher that passed away and stuff as well. So just a very unfortunate event in Texas and in America. And hopefully we'll see some change coming soon. Next match.
Absolutely. The Jericho Appreciation Society versus Eddie Kingston, Santana Ortiz, Bryan Danielson, and John Moxley in the Anarchy in the Arena match.
Can I just point out
the Backstreet Boys, right?
The Backstreet Boys. They came out dressed like the Backstreet Boys. Can I just point out that this show was so long that we're already an hour and 15 minutes and we couldn't even recap the whole show in just an hour because this show was so long. I forgot that this match, we started to talk about this match because I in my head right now, I'm like, oh, we're going to talk about the tag match. This show was so long. There was a lot of matches on the show. But go on. How'd you guys feel about this
match? Shout out New Jack because they had the music going as the fighting ensued. I believe that this really hyped the crowd up. And rest in peace, so New Jack. He would have been proud of this match.
I turned to my cousin Jaden when we were watching this, and I'm like, is the music still playing? And you could faintly hear in the background. I was like, wow, thing, you make. I'm like, this is so ECW, and you don't even know it. Like, this is so like a Paul Heyman move to just keep the music playing while the fighting's happening. And it was, I don't know, it was nostalgic. It was a throwback to of different days of ECW. I felt the exact same way, and it definitely was a New Jack match that this would be happening in. This would be New Jack and Mustafa brawling with the ball while the gangster music was playing, and you were wondering when the music was going to stop, and it just played through the entire match. And they didn't play this through the entire match, but they played it for a good portion of it. And it was very reminiscent to the glory days of Extreme Championship Wrestling, for sure. I loved, first things first, yes, the Backstreet Boys entrance for Jericho Appreciation Society, but I love how like everybody came out rugged and ready to fight on the other side too. I think the one that stood out the most, because I'm like, well, Moxley and Kingston and Santana and Ortiz, I think we're used to seeing them like that. But seeing Bryan come out there in the same white t-shirt that he wears all the time, but he just cut the sleeves. And somehow that made him look just a little bit more badass. Was perfect.
Yo, Daniel, how long did that match last? I'm going to say, how long did that match last? I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to say rough shot 30 minutes, right? For about 15 of those minutes, Bryan Danielson stood on the stairs, ran everybody fade. That man did not move from those stairs. You only see people come to Bryan Danielson. All of a sudden, you see their ass laid out on the ground. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. He ran everybody's fade. Everybody.
It was cool. It was a cool visual when Bryan was in the ring. He was just like, I'm gonna take everybody's fucking head off, and he was screaming to the crowd with like the blood, gushing on his face or whatever, and it was cool. But I don't know. I haven't really watched it. I saw highlights, but I'm gonna check it out. But it looked.
Someone like he was using one camera as a weapon, just one camera and just hitting everybody.
That's hilarious. No, I don't know who said this, but someone was like, "This feels like the Stadium Stampede, except without all the shenanigans."
Well, no, it's a perfect comparison because it technically was a Stadium Stampede, but it was just anarchy in the arena because there was no stadium for them to stampede around. It was that. It really was. It was, and you're right. And it was less shenanigans. It was less gimmicky, funny, ha stuff. Because the Stadium Stampede matches had more ha stuff. This was more of just like a brawl. And it was a brawl. And honestly, I think personally, I'm gonna say this. I saw a lot of it. I watched a lot of it. A lot was going on. I probably have to watch this back, to be honest with you. But from what I saw, it was a good old time. You guys know, if you listen to the show weekly, I'm not the biggest fan of like. I'm not saying I hate it, because when I was a kid, I really did enjoy watching some hardcore wrestling and all that stuff. The older I get, I'm not the biggest fan of like hardcore wrestling and all the shenanigans and whatnot. But it was good for what it was, man. We saw some Barbara tables. We saw gasoline brought out there. We saw a feud within one team where Bryan and Eddie Kingston started going at each other. There's a point where I think Daniel Garcia was like dragging Eddie Kingston across the floor, choking him. Like it was violent at its most violent. And I don't know. I'd have to watch it back. I did watch it. It felt like a lot was going on. And there was a point where Brian had two of the guys in the ring, and I think it might have been Jericho and Garcia or something. And I was like, you know what? If Brian won this, I wouldn't be mad right now if he won this all by himself right here. And he didn't. And then Jericho and Hager got him to pass out, and Aubrey called for the bell. But I don't know. Did you guys enjoy it at least?
I think it was good. Sports entertained.
How the hell did Daniel Garcia get out that freight elevator? Tell me how. Because he was literally, we said, oh, he's in the elevator. All of a sudden, we see a preview of GTA 6 with Eddie Kingston coming down with a gasoline tank.
Oh, that's cool.
Trying to murder, not you know, kayfabe, but actually tried to murder Chris Jericho. Brian Danielson was like, "What the hell are you doing?" And I believed it. I believe he really wanted to murder that man, and that's what I hate to say. I actually kind of like that about Eddie Kingston because you know how my tropes about him, but. Yay, murder! Yay, that's what the match was.
It was literally like an attempt to murder, and then finally we saw like the moral compass of Daniel Bryan come back, or Brian Daniels, and he's like, "What do you?" Because out of this match, and like I said, out of that team, right, out of the team of Eddie Kingston, John Moxley, Santana, and Ortiz, Brian was low key the black sheep of that team because he's the last guy I would be like, let's put him in a hardcore match like this. And that it made the most sense for him to be the one to be like, wait a minute, now we're going too far, because Brian's a wrestler's wrestler. Like, that's who Brian Danielson is. I'm not saying he can't do a match like this. Clearly he can because he did. But you would expect Brian to be the one to be like, okay, maybe we're going a little too far with this now. And I think that played out perfectly. Yeah. And then the Backstreet Boys won. So shout out to them.
Because they wanted it that way.
They wanted it that way. They did not. Yeah, they wanted it that way. What was up next?
The AEW Tag Team Title match: Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus versus Team Taz versus Keith Lee, Swerve Strickland.
This was good. I don't know. Like, it was good. I think I was so drained from the match before this and trying to figure out what the hell was going on that like my attention span for this match wasn't that great. But everything I saw was good. Once again, this match fell victim of there being just too many matches on this show.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion. Because I didn't even realize that. Jungle Boy guys won when they won, and then I had to like go to my cousin after and be like, "Wait a minute, who won the last match?" Like, that's how out of it I was. But I remember seeing a lot of cool moves and spots and things.
Yeah, you got something to say about this, Daniel? Because I'm not. I was rooting for everybody black, but apparently that didn't happen. A dinosaur won, so you can handle this one.
Honestly, like, I like Jungle Boy. When I say I like Jungle Boy, I like him a lot on AEW. I don't know. I like something about him. I think he's got a cool theme song. He's a cool wrestler. But I want to see heel Christian versus Jungle Boy. Like, Christian's been teasing to whoop Jungle Boy's ass and patiently waiting for it to happen. Just don't know when it's gonna happen.
If I can recall properly, I think my prediction was I wanted Ricky Starks and Will Hobbs to win this because I thought they could really use it. I didn't really want Swerve and Keith Lee to win because in my mind I know what they're doing with them. I still see them as two singles guys, and I found Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. I'm happy they got a reign with the tag titles. They're technically kind of like AEW originals, but at the same time, like I feel about their reign the same way I felt about Hangman's reign. Is like, I'm happy they got the belts, but like it hasn't been that entertaining, and I forget that they're champions. When you have teams on the roster like FTR and Red Dragon and so on, and then you have to remember that Jurassic Express are the tag champions, that's kind of an issue. That's nothing against them. It's just like, I don't like you would assume that maybe FTR were the tag champions or the Young Bucks or Red Dragon, or in this case, yes, you could use those belts now and elevate Will Hobbs and Ricky Starks who could really use something to keep their momentum going. Yeah, you could put on Swerve and Keith Lee, but I still would rather see those guys do more single stuff than really tag stuff. So yeah, overall, like from what I watched and what I saw, the match was good. They did a lot of cool stuff. There's a lot of cool spots. Probably would have been better somewhere else in the card or earlier in the show. It was put in a tough spot, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah. No.
Nobody black won. That kind of sucked. I was just somebody. That's all I wanted. Like I just want nice things in my life, but I can't have it ever. Yeah.
What was next?
Adam Page. Man, this is depressing.
And we have made it. We have made it to the main event. The AEW World Heavyweight Championship match between Hangman Adam Page and the best in the world, CM Punk. And CM Punk won.
It's kind of sad. I really like Hangman. I really do. I think he's one of my favorites.
You really think his reign was great?
I think it was better than Omega's. I'm just gonna say it right now. I didn't enjoy Kenny Omega's run. I care less. But
say what you want with your chest when you say it. Say it. I want you to say it. Say what you want to say. Say what you want to say.
I like CM Punk.
Talk. Go ahead. Go.
I like CM Punk, but I'm just like the crowd was dead. Punk just looks sloppy, and shit happens. But like, I don't know, man.
He should never attempt the buckshot lariat again. But I said this to you yesterday. And I'll say this again. I think this is one of the things, as a Punk fan, this is one of the things I learned about Punk that I think a lot of people on my comment section haven't really picked up on. But I believe that CM Punk has he's always been a little sloppy in the ring, but that's part of his demeanor, what makes him unique and special. Like, it's like nothing is super clean with CM Punk. Yes, he's the best promo you can talk, but all of his stuff looks a little CM Punkish. It's almost like its own thing. He's not AJ Styles, where he looks like he's a video game and everything's hit so crisply. That's not CM Punk. That's never been CM Punk. I'm happy CM Punk is the champion. I thought Hangman's reign was getting kind of boring and still. Did Hangman have some great defenses against Omega and Bryan Danielson and so on? Adam Cole, for sure. A lot of good title defenses. I'm also the guy that said that he should have lost it to Bryan Danielson and won it back just so we could shake things up a little bit. That didn't happen. So because the thing about Adam Page is he's better when he's coming from under, and we can root for him to win than him being the champion that continuously wins, because that gets really boring, and that is a hill I will die on. He was a good champion. I will say that. He was a good champion. The road to him to win that belt was a long road, and it was fun, but I was over him being the champion. I'm super happy that CM Punk is. I'm also that person that said that CM Punk goes a whole AEW career and never win that belt, and I'd be okay with it. But I'm happy he is.
Watch your mouth. Yeah. Watch your mouth when you say that.
No, look, I like CM Punk. Clearly,
oh, that's nice. That's cool, Daniel. That's amazing. But I love. You know where I stay at? You know where I'm from. Nice old Chicago, Illinois. Look, let me turn this hat around like Ash Catherine real quick, the reverse way. What does that say, Chicago Bulls? Even though I'm a Warriors fan, I'm kind of going against all my morals right now. But hey, sorry for all the noise right now. But we got to understand that man is the best in the world. What do you not understand about that, Justin? Because you don't sound happy like you should be.
No, I am. I'm ecstatic. I'm
ecstatic. I love CM Punk. You don't sound like it.
I do.
Sorry, buy me a CM Punk.
This has just been a very long show.
Oh, just been a very long show. I don't love the CM Punk. Be happy. Be just freaking happy. Because you know how happy I am. This is like 2011 all over again. This is the summer of Punk. Be happy when you're in summer and we can see CM Punk. I am happy. He is happy.
He's the champion.
I mean, it's cool, but like he's old now. This is old man Logan.
This is a fresh start for CM Punk. Daniel, you would have been hyped if Shawn Michaels won the belt in 2011. You would have been like on. You wanted Jeff Hardy to beat Roman Reigns.
I did.
Yes, I actually agree with that.
You wanted Jeff Hardy to beat Roman Reigns.
Yeah, but like I don't know, something just didn't click. Maybe Hangman and Punk just don't have the best chemistry. Maybe the
That
show
might
went
be
on.
true. That might be true. They might not have the best chemistry, but CM Punk
Hangman's
is the
the
world
bigger guy
champion.
than CM Punk. CM Punk's a little shorter. Hangman's a little bigger. Like it's just like
We're
it's
in Logan, like the movie Logan where Wolverine's old and stuff. We're in the Logan era of CM
I
Punk.
literally just
He's
said that right
older,
now.
he's wiser, and he
literally
moves
just
a
said
little
that.
different, but
And
he's the
still
man.
the best in the world. What
He
do you
is.
guys not understand about that?
He's great. He's great, but I just babyface Punk. He's just like he's all
And
right.
he
I
cut
mean,
that promo after the show where he said, this is nothing about deserves that I earned this." And if you look at everything he's done since he came here, he didn't just jump right to the top and get a title shot like Bryan Danielson. He worked his way to this title shot.
Bryan's a better wrestler, so this makes up.
What?
I think Bryan Danielson is a better in-ring wrestler than CM Punk.
I'm not gonna argue about that. But
I'm not going to argue that either.
Watch your language. Watch your language. Watch your mouth.
I mean,
we could get CM Punk versus Bryan Danielson. He said he wanted that on the press conference after, and this could be the biggest match. If we get Punk and Danielson during the title reign, I'm gonna lose it. It's gonna be insane. But I still think the MJF thing's gonna happen, and the fact that FTR is being so hummy and chummy with CM Punk might piss off MJF in the Pinnacle.
I don't like this whole ass kissy shit. Oh my god, FTR's with CM Punk.
You are something
a hater.
Cool
happen?
A hater.
I'm not a hater. I cried when CM Punk came back. I was so hyped when Punk came back. How
many times have you said that you're over it? Punk sucks now. He's not the same. He needs to be a heel.
Being ICW. This being a terrible ICW.
No, I love
internet. I hate CM Punk.
I like Punk.
WWE. What about the Attitude Era? That's what you're
Did
gonna
you
say
not legitimately say to me yesterday that you wish that CM Punk goes back to WWE? It'd probably be better.
I do. I really think. I think when his back is against the wall, when he's really pissed off at the world, that's when we get the best version of CM Punk.
So you only like CM Punk when he's unhappy.
Yeah,
you want him to be miserable.
You like depression, don't you?
You are attracted to being sad and dark and low.
You know what? Some of your best wrestlers were doing their best in-ring work when they were on pills and shit. Let's just admit that.
Okay,
you got Tony Khan. Is that your favorite character in AEW?
I love Tony Montana. Hell yeah.
No, I said Tony Khan because that man was on something and you're telling about how CM Punk is the biggest financial success in the business, and he was going on a rant and he couldn't.
That was like opening his eyes like CM Punk's not great, pal. He's not great, and you're gonna watch it. I broke all the records. Screw you, Eric Bischoff. He was on it.
Let's fucking go.
Justin knows this. Every Monday, well, actually every Wednesday, I read Tony Khan's tweets to the group that we have. So let me go ahead and find a Tony Khan tweet, and I will do that for you real quick because he's very, very passionate about CM Punk and what he believes in, and I think he doesn't know how to get that across, right? So, excuse me. Let me go ahead and get this right here. I believe this is the one right here. I'm trying to find the transcript. Right there. All right. You guys are ready? I'm just going to read a random Tony Khan tweet, okay? You got the drugs, Justin?
I'm ready.
No, give me the drugs. Give me the drugs.
Here are the drugs.
Thank you.
Oh, God.
These are my peak productivity hours. I spend many hours on your blog, and at this time, this is too much for my life. Thank you for teaching me so much about wrestling and Lucha Libre in particular over these last couple of decades. I read about your shows and every day on your blog and tried to even learn what I saw. I became a fan of blah, 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 Ultimate Tarzan, blah, blah, blah. I saw Mystico first match at San Carlos and Champagne with Punk. AEW Dynamite tonight. Rampage, let's go.
No, but it's true. I mean, like Shawn Michaels in '97, he was going through it, and sometimes when
I literally I got the Duro.
CM Punk is the world champion, and we are happy, and all is good in the world. The best in the world is the world champion.
Is it all good in the world? I'm just saying.
This whole pay-per-view, like the wrap things up. I will say, and I'm saying this with complete honesty, I was at Revolution. I had a blast. This pay-per-view didn't hit. It didn't hit. The whole pay-per-view not hit. A lot of it felt like 90% of this pay-per-view was really good. Like the matches, the qualities of the matches were really good, but there was something about it that felt very lackluster and just kind of like boring, to be honest with you. If Punk didn't win that belt at the end, I'd probably go on a limb and this was probably one of 8 worst pay-per-views. That's not a bad thing because it was still really good. So your worst pay-per-view was still really good, not a bad thing, but it was, out of all the pay-per-views they had, probably not their best. Someone said rate this pay-per-view. If I was going to rate this pay-per-view out of 10, I would give it like a 7, to be honest. We're saying that most of their other pay-per-views have been like 8s or 9s or even 10s. I would give this like a solid 6.5 or a 7. It wasn't horrible. What about you guys? What would you give it?
6.5. I'm not gonna lie to you. If it wasn't for the Punk moment, it would probably
6.5, Daniel?
be lower than that. 6.5.
Like a 5.
Is it a 5, right? There you go. So, like, I think we can all agree this was probably, someone else in the chat, this was by far probably their worst pay-per-view. I think with the lack of build-up for most of the matches.
That was the worst. Continue.
Okay, fair enough. Maybe this was the second worst pay-per-view. But in terms of, even with the lack of build-up and stuff, they still I don't know why my email keeps opening up. But they still delivered, and it just was underwhelming. It was underwhelming, and I think if there wasn't the Punk moment to end the show, it wouldn't have been as great as, because everything that was on this card, like, I don't know if there's anything I'd go back and watch back right now. Maybe Darby and Kyle and Serena and Thunder, and just the main event for the fact that Punk won. And if I was really just like having a great time and hit a J or something, I'd go watch the Arena Anarchy thing. But other than that, like, I don't know if there's anything. The Sammy Guevara match? That was pretty solid, though. It was pretty solid.
That was pretty solid, no?
Get the fuck out of here, y'all. Man. Go Warriors. Go CM Punk. Y'all have lost me as a fan with that one.
Definitely glad I didn't spend $50 on it. That's what someone said in the live stream here on Instagram. Everyone on the Instagram live stream that came through, I know a lot of you have come and dipped or came and stayed. I don't know, but thank you very much. I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys enjoyed me going live while we're recording the show, we can try doing this again when we record the show this weekend. I'll go live as we're recording it and take you guys' comments and questions as we're on the air. I can also go live on YouTube. If you guys want to go subscribe to the Wrestling Classic YouTube channel, definitely go do that. Go follow the Jamari. That's the with 2 E's. Go follow Daniel at the Dropkick Podcast or Daniel M8. Follow me at the Wrestling Classic. Click the link in my bio. Join the Discord. Read my articles at 1:37 p.m. Listen to my interviews, the casual conversations. Check out the archives. All of my interviews are evergreen. You can listen to them a year after I do them, and they'll still stay relevant because we don't really usually talk about what's happening in the moment. We talk about life overall. So go give them a listen. Check out the Dropkick Podcast on YouTube as well. He's been dropping interviews all the time with a whole bunch of people. Kelly, Jimmy Jacobs,
Bret Hart, RVD. I think I'm dropping Daniel
Wilson, Mango. He's got them all stacked, and he's taking his sweet ass time to release them all. But doing the thing. We'll see you all this weekend. This is a really long recap for Double or Nothing. Once again, it was a decent show, probably not one of their best, but CM Punk is the world champion. All is right in the world. The best in the world. Won the world heavyweight title for AEW, the same place he dropped the infamous pipe bomb in 2011, literally 10 years later. It's very apropos. It's very fitting. And we are starting another summer with Punk, another summer of Punk. But they did in Ring of Honor. They did in the WWE. We'll see how it plays out in AEW. I'm still running with my MJF idea, where MJF is the one that says he's going to win that title and run away. You heard it here first. I said it. F everybody else. Keep doing the thing. See you all next time.
It's peace out time.
Yeah. Dig it. Some of the gobblers. I don't know. All right. Sweet. Done. Wow. Sorry if you guys heard my parents in the background. These guys are making like phone calls and everything else under the sun.